Part 51. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 501. Chapter 501. Here, Feng Ling and Chen Pingping came to the National Medical Alliance under the leadership of Zhou Fang. When Chen Pingping saw the National Medical Alliance, her eyes lit up instantly. Oh my god, my god, my god. He's so handsome. She looked at the tall buildings in front of her and sighed. Feng Ling's expression was calm. To her, this tall building was actually quite ordinary. How should I put it, after looking at it for a long time, she got used to it, so she didn't think this building was so cool anymore. To Feng Ling, this building was quite ordinary. There is not much difference from Daijing. Let's go in, Feng Ling said. The way he behaves is like the owner here. Chen Pingping didn't pay attention to it for a while. She just thought that maybe this was Feng Ling's nature, which was relatively outgoing. Zhou Fang followed Feng Ling. How should I put it, in front of this little ancestor, he didn't dare to go ahead. Forget it about Beijing University. If the National Medical Association continues to take the lead, he will really die. Those old guys will kill him. Okay, this is the inside of the National Medical Alliance. Zhou Fang stopped, then looked at Feng Ling and Chen Pingping and said, I have something else to do, so you can go around as you like. I will come over to pick you up for dinner in a while. Well, let's go, Feng Ling nodded, agreeing. Soon, Feng Ling took Chen Pingping around half a circle. Why? Because the Chinese Medical Alliance is so big that there is no way to complete the tour in one morning. Moreover, if it is just a quick tour, there is no need to come. The Chinese Medical Alliance, in the alliance, every inch of land can be said to have very valuable wealth, especially for Chen Pingping. So, Feng Ling did not take Chen Pingping around blindly. Dr. Chu, you are here just when Feng Ling was showing Chen Pingping the latest research results. A group of people suddenly appeared behind him. Surrounded by a group of people, he was a man in a suit and leather shoes. The faces of those people were full of flattery. Feng Ling frowned and said nothing. She hadn't been to the National Medical Alliance for a while, so she didn't know what it was like now. Today, her main task is to take Chen Pingping here for a visit. Then let her have a general understanding of the various directions in medicine. In medicine, it is best to choose a designated direction to study, especially starting from the freshman year. Here are the latest ones. You can come and take a look, Feng Ling said. This medicine has not been released yet. It should be released soon. However, the efficacy of its ingredients has not yet reached its best. Little girl, what are you talking about? This medicine is already at the highest level so far, and it can't be improved any further. Chu Tian looked at Feng Ling and frowned. This was something he had carefully researched. I didn't expect to be slandered by a little girl here. I'm really speechless. I'm just telling the truth. If you can't bear to listen, you can pretend you didn't hear it. Feng Ling was speechless inside. To be honest, she didn't want to quarrel at all, especially in the National Medical Association, because the noise was really too big. This medicine was researched by me myself. Do you know how many of us work sleepless to research this medicine? You have negated all of our efforts with just one sentence. I think you must apologize to me. Chu Tian looked at Feng Ling seriously and said. Chen Pingping looked at Feng Ling, a little at a loss. Ling Ling. Feng Ling patted her shoulder to comfort her, then looked at Chu Tian and said, I have never denied your research results. The effect of this medicine is indeed good. Otherwise, the National Medical Association would not have put it on the market, but... End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 502. Chapter 502. Feng Ling paused and continued, however, it does not mean that there is no room for improvement in this medicine. Whether there is room for improvement in this medicine is not up to you. Chu Tian looked at the girl in front of him coldly. How did you get into the National Medical Alliance when you don't understand anything? You are not just a random person here. Anyone can come in. Chu Tian looked at the girl, his expression not very good. Feng Ling raised her eyebrows. If I remember correctly, Zhou Fang should be a senior executive here. As far as Shushan is concerned, there is at most one person from the external department. Many of their confidential medicines can only be accessed by their internal personnel. Therefore, it is understandable that Shushan's vision is only so long. Zhou Fang, Chu Tian frowned. He was still a little afraid of these two words. How do you know Zhou Fang? He went to Beijing University, and he brought Chen Pingping here. From now on, she should be considered one of the probationary members of your National Medical Alliance. Chen Pingping was watching on the sidelines, but was suddenly startled by the cue. Lingling, what is a probationary member? Why does she feel like she suddenly can't understand the world? Probationary members, you have 4 years, you can come and study anytime and anywhere. During these 4 years, you have corresponding tasks every year. If you can successfully complete and pass the assessment, then, after graduating from college, you can officially become a member of the National Medical Association. Feng Ling curled her lips. People from the National Medical Alliance never told the news when they went to recruit students. You only tell others after you bring them in. Really, Chen Pingping felt like a huge pie was coming towards her. She looked at Feng Ling blankly, as if she hadn't accepted all this yet. Feng Ling nodded. Yes, it's true, so you have to study hard in the future. After all, the National Medical Association's annual assessment content is very difficult. I will work hard, Chen Pingping nodded heavily. Feng Ling smiled happily. Chen Pingping is a good person. As long as she is willing to work hard, she will definitely become a master. She was brought in by Mr. Zhou. How did you get in? Me, she brought me in, but Zhou Fang agreed. Why is Zhou Fang? His name is Mr. Zhou. You are a little girl, how can you be so rude? Chu Tian looked at Feng Ling with displeasure and said. Of course you have to call me Mr. Zhou, but Zhou Fang is not qualified enough for me to call him Mr. Zhou. Maybe you can ask him if he can afford it, Feng Ling sneered. The relationship between her and Zhou Fang is that of superior and subordinate. However, only internal members know about her existence. External members like Chu Tian have no idea who the internal members are. Except for Zhou Fang's needs and external, only the person with whom the member is connected can let external members know. This is also the reason why the drug control of their National Medical Alliance is very safe, because the external members are all very good. How are you talking? Chu Tian was about to educate him when he suddenly saw Zhou Fang coming from behind. He immediately took 2 steps back and bowed. Mr. Zhou, this girl. What are you doing here? Zhou Fang frowned, then glanced at Feng Ling and Chen Pingping. The room has been prepared for you. You two can go in. You have been staying in our Chinese Medical Alliance for the past few days. Chen Pingping, here in 2 days, I will help you become familiar with the overall structure of the National Medical Alliance as soon as possible, because your current ability is not able to access the inside, so you can only learn from the outside. I understand, thank you Mr. Zhou. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 503. Chapter 503. Okay, if you have nothing to do, just leave, Zhou Fang said. Didn't you hear that Mr. Zhou asked you to leave immediately? Chu Tian looked at Feng Ling proudly and said. Feng Ling looked at Chu Tian like a fool, and then heard Zhou Fang say, I want you to leave, Chu Tian. Chu Tian looked at Mr. Zhou stupidly, but Mr. Zhou, she is right. There is indeed room for improvement in your medicine. Don't limit yourself. Otherwise, you will never be able to get inside. Zhou Fang looked at Chu Tian coldly and said, also, don't mess with it. Feng Ling, she is not someone you can afford to offend, even I can't. After all, he is the little ancestor of those old guys, well, he is also his little ancestor. Xiao, no, let's go over there. Zhou Fang had just finished scolding Chu Tian, and then he looked at Feng Ling and Chen Pingping with a different look. Chen Pingping twitched her mouth. Why did she feel that this Mr. Zhou was inexplicably a bit unruly? In short, the two people went in. The rooms in the National Medical Alliance were very high. The place Zhou Fang took them to was Feng Ling's bedroom. Feng Ling said that it would be nice to let Chen Pingping live in her room with her since there were two beds anyway. So, when Chen Pingping entered, everyone was shocked. The layout of the rooms here is simply like a European-style room that only a royal princess can live in. It's simply too luxurious. Ling, is this really where we live? Well, I'm just making do since I don't come here often. I don't have a very elaborate design, don't dislike it. Chen Pingping. She really wants to interview Feng Ling now. Who did she learn this ordinary language from? If this place is released, who dares to say that it has no meditation design? Except for Feng Ling, Yu Shui dare. It's impossible to be good at all. Feng Ling is simply, so luxurious. But, Ling, who are you and why do I feel that Mr. Zhou thinks highly of you, even a little? Furthermore, you said you don't come to this room often. Have you been here before? Have you been a member here before? Chen Pingping raised her own question. Feng Ling raised her eyebrows and said, how should I put it? You can say that I am a member here, but in fact, I am the one who established the National Medical Alliance. This entire National Medical Alliance belongs to me. Feng Ling smiled and said. Chen Pingping. Wait, what did she hear? What just happened? Nothing happened just now, right? Ling, I'm a little dizzy now and need to calm down. Oh my god, her roommate, her classmate, is actually the founder of the National Medical Association? Is this real? She knew that the National Medical Alliance had been established for 5 years, but 5 years ago, Feng Ling was only 13 years old. Is this real? Let's fake it. Let's fake it. Okay, don't digest it. No one outside knows me now anyway. My existence is a secret here, so you have to keep it a secret for me, you know. Don't worry Ling, I will definitely protect you. Feng Ling twitched when she saw the little girl looking so serious. She didn't know why, but she always felt that Chen Pingping had misunderstood something. After all, she didn't publish this identity just to save worry, but she didn't have anything to do with letting others know. So-called. Because she knew very well that no one outside would believe it. After all, she is only 13 years old. How could this society tolerate a person who is only 18 years old and be the founder of the National Medical Association? This is simply inconsistent with their understanding. Feng Ling sighed, wondering when people in this world would become smarter. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 504. Chapter 504. The next day, when Chen Pingping woke up, she found that Feng Ling was still sleeping. She shook Feng Ling and said, Ling, we should get up. Feng Ling slapped her hand away, then opened her hazy eyes and looked at the alarm clock behind her. Chen Pingping, it's only 6 o'clock in the morning. Don't you think it's too early to call me now? Okay, isn't it the same time that everyone in our school goes to bed? Feng Ling didn't care. She pulled Chen Pingping next to her and covered her with a quilt. Stop talking nonsense and sleep with me for another 2.5 hours. I asked Zhou Fang to bring me breakfast to the living room. Chen Pingping. She was a little frightened now. After all, she was going to eat breakfast later. It was the breakfast sent by Mr. Zhou. The dignified Mr. Zhou was actually like this in front of Fen Ling. Tiny. Chen Pingping rubbed her eyebrows and said, well, the world is really wonderful, and there are always many things that she can't understand. For example, Mr. Zhou was actually respectful to Fen Ling. For example, Fen Ling actually founded the National Medical Alliance at the age of 13. For example, Fen Ling turned out to be the founder of the National Medical Alliance. For another example, how did Fen Ling's brain grow? She heard that Fen Ling had no parents and they seemed to have passed away. Therefore, she felt that if her parents were still alive, they would be particularly proud of her. Chen Pingping looked at Fen Ling and thought, and then fell into a deep sleep. The two of them slept until 8:30, and it was Chen Pingping who woke up and pulled Fen Ling up. Lingling, the sun will really shine on you if you don't get up. You are the founder and you must take the lead. Shut up. Chen Pingping, we are not in school now. The National Medical Association is my second home. In my home, don't mention the things outside. None of those old men can speak like you. Fen Ling looked at her. He glanced at Chen Pingping and complained silently. Chen Pingping is not afraid, that's because they don't dare to say, I am your classmate. In theory, we are on the same level, so get up and pull. Finally, Fen Ling finally started to act coy. After getting up, the two of them came to the living room and saw the rich breakfast. Chen Pingping was surprised again. Tisk tisk tisk, Lingling, Mr. Zhou really treats you like a princess. Princess, Dr. Fen Ling said coldly, you don't know something. They are raising me as their ancestor. Chen Pingping. I imagined it, well, it's a bit strange. Breakfast was delicious. Both of them ate a lot. After finishing eating, Fen Ling took Chen Pingping around inside. There are many pharmaceutical and R&D departments internally. Different from the outside, inside, everyone knows Fen Ling, and everyone calls out ancestor when they see Fen Ling. The picture is a bit inexplicably humorous. Little ancestor, you are finally here. I miss you so much. Shang Guanmo saw Fen Ling and ran over excitedly. Then 3 meters away, Fen Ling blocked him. Stop. Wash all those potions off your body. This Shang Guanmo, is it really because of his research that he has almost turned into a potion, waiting for a chemical reaction with other potions? Fen Ling shook her head helplessly. Shang Guanmo scratched his head stupidly. Hey, I didn't pay attention, I didn't pay attention. He changed into a white coat and was finally able to read a little. At this moment, Shang Guanmo noticed Chen Pingping next to him. Huh? Is this your new little sister? It seems like this is your first time bringing your little sister here. In the past, Fen Ling took care of her brothers, sisters, grandparents. This time, I brought up here with me, which was a bit unexpected. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 505. Chapter 505. Well, Fen Ling pushed Chen Pingping in front of Shang Guanmo and said, I will be your apprentice from now on. Take good care of your little junior sister. Well, hello, senior brother, my name is Chen Pingping, nice to meet you. I am Lingling's roommate and I am 18 years old. Chen Pingping stiffly introduced herself. Shang Guanmo never thought that one day he would have to take care of his junior sister. He was stunned and said, hello. Is it just you? Fen Ling glanced at him with disgust, then shook her head, forget it, ignore your senior brother, let's come in and take a look. Hey, little ancestor, don't dislike me. Didn't I just meet my junior sister? I'm not very familiar with her yet. Little junior sister, wait for your senior brother. In fact, I usually talk a lot. If you want to hear it, I will tell you every day. Chen Pingping. This senior brother's brain is not normal. Fen Ling saw Chen Pingping's thoughts and said, he is just like this, it doesn't matter, just don't treat him as a normal person. Hey, hey, little ancestor, you can't say that. Why am I not a normal person? Anyone who can come in here is not a normal person. Didn't you say this? That was me before, and now I am a cool and elegant gentleman. I am very normal. Shangguan Emo raised his head proudly. Lingling, why did brother Shangguan say this morning that he was not a normal person? During the meal, Chen Pingping asked the question. Feng Ling was a little surprised that Chen Pingping noticed this. Well, actually, what he said is not bad, because 80% of those who come to the Medical Alliance and become internal members are not tolerated by the outside world. You see, most of the people here are young people. They are basically in their 20s or early 20s. At this age, drugs can be developed to combat human diseases. Do you think that an ordinary person, will you believe it? No, subconsciously, they believe in those gray-haired old people more. However, knowledge does not distinguish between ages. In a class, there are still 100 points and 0 points. There are even people who skip grades. There is no shortage of geniuses in this world, but many geniuses have already been beaten to death by the time they appear. Feng Ling smiled bitterly. When I just met Shangguan Emo, he was kicked out by the owner of the house because he was penniless. He worked as a beggar for 3 days and finally collected 10 yuan. His family, because they thought he was neurotic all the time, took him to a mental hospital for 3 years. Later, he couldn't stand the control there and came out. Because, how can a normal person endure being imprisoned? And after? Later, I brought him here, because I found that he has a strong learning ability. He can study a problem for days and nights. Maybe it is because he is too involved, so his state looks a bit strange, but in fact, he is a very talented person. Feng Ling sighed. Now, his family lives in a house not far away, and he gave birth to a younger brother. His grades were not very good, but his family loved him very much. Shangguan Emo knew about it and had no plans to go back. Because he knew very well that if he went back, he would not be tolerated by the world. Here, his strange talents could be accommodated, but in the eyes of the world, these cannot be explained by science. How to explain it? Perhaps it's because human civilization has not been able to develop to this point. That's why the tragedy has created so many geniuses. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 506. Chapter 506. Many people in the National Medical Alliance are no longer willing to return to their original lives for this reason. Feng Ling looked at the building and sighed deeply. This is the reality. We have no way to change it now, so we can only continue to strengthen ourselves, and then slap them in the face at the critical moment. But, are they really going to stay here all their lives? Chen Pingping pursed her lips. She felt that many places in this world are beautiful. If they really only stayed in one place, wouldn't it be such a waste of life? This is everyone's choice. Some people like to travel, and some people like to stay at home. For them, this place is their entire world, and they no longer need or want to contact the outside world. The environment here is much simpler than outside. Chen Pingping nodded. I understand, but since brother Shangguan is so handsome and cute, I must let him see the outside world. On the one hand, he is still young, but now, he is an adult, so I think, he should be able to try to accept the outside world. Chen Pingping said. Yeah, that's right. Feng Ling touched her chin. I also have this idea, but I've never had the chance to realize it because I'm too busy, so. Feng Ling looked at Chen Pingping, then smiled. I'll leave this difficult task to you. During this period, stay here and study hard, understand? Chen Pingping, she doesn't really want to understand now. In short, Chen Pingping was left behind by Feng Ling. That day, after Chu Tian returned home, he became very angry. Damn it, where did Feng Ling come from? Why does Zhou Fang defend her so much? Isn't he a relative of Zhou Fang? One person replied. Relatives. Chu Tian felt that what this person said was not unreasonable, but even if she is a relative, she should not be brought to a place like that. It is the National Medical Association, no one else can get in, so why can his relatives just bring her here? Moreover, you can still judge me. Dr. Chu, please calm down. Aren't there going to be outside recruits after a while? It is said that our boss will appear this year. Your performance this year should be considered the best one. So, I think you can be the boss again when the time comes. Show your presence in front of me. When he chooses you, are you still afraid of being pressured by Zhou Fang? Boss is the person who hates relationships the most. You are right. Chu Tian finally smiled, looked at the man and nodded. By the way, little ancestor, we are going to recruit people soon. How many people are you going to recruit this year? One Feng Ling glanced at the personnel settings and said. 1, why not recruit 2? Zhou Fang was a little confused. Logically speaking, 2 should be recruited every 3 years. There is another one that doesn't work, so I'm only going to recruit 1 this year. Let's see if that one is worth it first. If it's not worth it, we'll open it up to the outside world. In other words, do not recruit external members, but find people from other places. Okay, Zhou Fang probably knew what his little ancestor meant, and at the same time he felt a little sympathetic to Chu Tian. Little ancestor, I really hate that some people don't have a humble heart. Chu Tian has violated the taboo of his young ancestor. However, Chu Tian didn't know yet. He was still seriously thinking about how to make Zhou Fang step down that day. This Zhou Fang had been working against him. He was not allowed to join the last recruitment. Fortunately, this year's boss recruit in person. Otherwise we don't know when it will be. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 507. Chapter 507. Soon, the recruitment of the National Medical Alliance began. This time, for the open recruitment of external departments, the threshold was particularly high, and performance must be achieved. So this time, although there were many people who signed up, everyone knew very well that only Chu Tian and Song Ci have this ability. However, in comparison, Shushan has published more papers and research results than Song Ci, so everyone prefers Shushan to be recruited. Dr. Chu, when you go up this time, don't forget your brothers. Yes, let's have a meal, dear brothers. Brother, I'm here just to support you this time. I'm just going through the motions with this recruitment. Hey, when will my brother be like you? I'm so envious. Everyone talked to each other, making it sound like Chu Tian would definitely get in. I didn't refuse Chu Tian, and he also felt that he would definitely be able to get in. He smiled and nodded. Okay, don't worry, I will remember you all. When the time comes, when I go up, I will not forget you. Don't think that the people inside have said it so well, there must be a lot of twists and turns, otherwise it wouldn't be. Chu Tian thought of Feng Ling and Zhou Fang, and sneered, don't worry, when I enter, you will definitely be indispensable. Ha ha ha, okay, brothers, I believe in you. Yes, that's right, I believe you, ha ha ha. Everyone gathered around Chu Tian, talking to each other, and the atmosphere was particularly good. On the other hand, there were only a few people on Song Ci's side. Song Ci, how are you preparing for this time? It should be okay. Although Chu Tian has been appreciated recently, you are not bad either, so don't give in to that Chu Tian. Yes, I just can't stand the way he is really arrogant. If he really gets in, I don't want to fight for it. I know, don't worry, I will definitely try my best, Song Ci said with a smile. However, In fact, he didn't have much confidence in his heart. He didn't even know what the boss liked more. He had never even met the boss. He said that the internal staff was very strict and he was not very good at socializing. Therefore, Song Ci is now more everyone is nervous. Are you Song Ci? Fen Ling came over early and wanted to see the situation. Unexpectedly, a group of people gathered around Chu Tian, so she saw Song Ci here at a glance because she had seen Song Ci before. It's a photo of Song Ci, so Fen Ling knew a little about Song Ci and recognized him at a glance. Song Ci didn't expect that a little girl would show up at the job fair. He nodded and said in a friendly manner, "Yes, little girl, what are you doing here? Do your parents work here? Who are your parents? I will take care of you, you go and look for it." Fen Ling didn't know what to say for a moment. She took a deep look at Song Ci and then said, "I'm here to see my brother, not my parents. Shang Guan Mo will come over today." She ordered him to come over. Originally, the guy didn't want to come out at all. But he heard that she would accompany him, so the guy came over too. "Oh, that's right. Who is your brother? I will take you to him in a moment." Shang Guan Mo. Fen Ling abandoned Shang Guan Mo without even thinking. Song Ci was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that the little girl was Shang Guan Mo's sister. After all, the three characters Shang Guan Mo are quite famous in their medical circles. Could it be that Shang Guan Mo is also here today? Song Ci felt a little stressed at the moment. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and then smiled coquettishly, "Little girl, if it's Shang Guan Mo, I might not be able to take you to see him, because I don't know him very well." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 508. Chapter 508. It doesn't matter, I know where Shang Guan Mo is. Fen Ling smiled kindly, then found a place to sit down. "He hasn't come yet, I'll wait for him here first, it won't affect you." "No, of course not." Song Ci was stunned for a moment, then immediately shook his head. Fen Ling curled her lips and said, "It's okay if you don't." Song Ci looked at Fen Ling and felt that this little girl was really good looking, both in terms of appearance and temperament. Fen Ling waited for a while and found that Song Ci had taken out her resume. She raised her eyebrows and asked, "Can I take a look?" "Okay, here you go." Song Ci gave it to Fen Ling without any cover-up. Fen Ling took a look and found that yes, Song Ci's achievements in the past 3 years on his resume were more down-to-earth than Chu Tian's. Furthermore, according to her understanding of Song Ci, his leap speed is faster than Chu Tian, which means that Song Ci has more room for development. "It's well written," Fen Ling said. Song Ci shyly touched his head. "Hey, it's not that good. There are many good people. What do you think your future development direction will be if you enter?" "It should be the cell part, I'm more interested in that part." Song Ci scratched his head and said. Fen Ling raised her eyebrows and nodded, "Yes, I understand." She glanced at the time and saw that it was almost time, then waved to Song Ci, "I'm going to find my brother." "Oh, okay, do you want me to take you there?" "No need, we'll talk later." Fen Ling smiled. When he was about to leave, he was blocked by a figure. Fen Ling looked up and saw that it was Chu Tian. "Why are you here? Not everyone can come in here. I know this is the National Medical Association, I don't need you to give me popular science." To be honest, Fen Ling is really annoyed by Chu Tian. "Get out of here if you know this is the National Medical Association. Do you still want your dad to help you with connections? You don't learn well at a young age. Are you out of your mind?" She told Song Ci that Shang Guan Mo was her brother, but she never told anyone who was her father. "What? You were caught, and now you don't even dare to admit it to your own father? If you have the guts, tell Zhou Fang that you are not his daughter." I'm sick. Fen Ling rolled her eyes and turned around. You stop for me, you are not allowed to leave. You guys hurry up and call the security guards and ask them to take her out. Wait a minute, Chu Tian, she's here to see Shang Guan Mo. You can't be so rude. Song Si I saw Chu Tian giving Fen Ling a hard time and stopped her. Shang Guan Mo. Yes, she is Shang Guan Mo's sister, and she came to see her brother. Brother Chu Tian sneered, and then said, it seems that you are really colluding with each other. Do you know what will happen if the boss finds out that you come in here? Then do you know what will happen if what you just said is heard by your boss? Fen Ling looked at Chu Tian coldly and said. They are said to be filthy internally, but they are actually members of the external members of the National Medical Association. It seems that the external members really have to make more money. Fen Ling wrote down all the people who had just slandered them. She has a very good mind and can remember faces at a glance. He heard it when he heard it. He should also know what kind of chaos it is inside, Chu Tian said righteously. Fen Ling laughed at this. Just because you open your mouth, you can talk nonsense. Have you forgotten the rules of the National Medical Association? She remembered clearly that when everyone came in, she had to make them recite the rules and regulations. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 509. Chapter 509. There is a line marked in darkened and red fonts that states that you are not allowed to spread rumors and cause trouble at will. And Chu Tian, within a few days of seeing him, started to spread rumors out of thin air. Fen Ling looked at Chu Tian coldly and said word by word, from now on, you are fired. Ha ha ha, what are you talking about? Who do you think you are, that you can fire me? Chu Tian only found it funny after hearing this. He felt that there must be something wrong with the girl in front of her. But obviously, Fen Ling had no intention of talking nonsense with Chu Tian. In her opinion, she had already told him that Tao had been fired. Therefore, whether Chu Tian believed it or not, Chu Tian no longer existed in the National Medical Alliance. Behind the scenes, a group of people were laughing. Ha ha ha, what a little girl, she doesn't understand anything. That's right, I fired you as soon as I said I was fired. I thought I was the boss. It's impossible for boss to fire Dr. Chu so easily. Dr. Chu's research has made outstanding contributions. Can boss be willing to do it? Absolutely impossible. That's right, Dr. Chu, don't pay attention to this little girl. She has never been out of society and has never experienced any beatings from society. Everyone was talking to each other, but Song Si, looking at Fen Ling's back, suddenly felt whether what she just said to him was the truth. Little ancestor, you are here, where have you been? Zhou Fang said when he saw her. Fen Ling raised her eyebrows and said, I went for a spin. She found a chair and sat down, then said, Chu Tian has been fired for spreading rumors and causing trouble. There is no need to call him for an interview. Okay, little ancestor. Zhou Fang didn't ask why and just executed it. For them, the orders of their young ancestors are imperial edicts. It's not that they don't have their own ideas, or that they are foolish and loyal, it's because they know very well that what the little ancestor said is reasonable and correct. The little ancestor has never done anything wrong since he became the founder of the Kuai Alliance. So this is all the convincing power that Fen Ling has accumulated little by little. Let's get started, Fen Ling said. Okay, Zhou Fang nodded. Fen Ling was sitting next to Shang Guan Mo, playing games with his head down. Everyone who came in felt a little contempt when they saw Fen Ling. More than half of the time has passed and we are about to arrive in Shushan, but the person calling is Song Si. Chu Tian, Song Si, and everyone present were stunned at the same time. What's going on? Isn't Chu Tian next? Why is it Song Ci? I don't know, are you wrong? Yes, is it a mistake? Do you want to check it? Is it the machine that made a mistake? Everyone said something to me, but no one answered. When Song Ci entered, he saw Feng Ling, but not the boss. He was stunned for a moment, and then began to introduce himself. After Song Ci finished introducing himself, Feng Ling asked him, Song Ci, what do you think you want to say about Chu Tian's statement? I mean, he said we are not harmonious internally. I can't answer now. I'm sorry, little sister, because our National Medical Association does not allow us to make random guesses without evidence. Therefore, without evidence, I cannot say whether the internal situation is good or bad at will. However, I do not support Chu Tian's because I don't think he has any evidence. Do you think you have any advantage over Chu Tian? Calmness, and enthusiasm are my greatest strengths. Song Ci pursed his lips. However, I am a bit socially anxious, so it may take a little longer to integrate. Have you been with the National Medical Alliance for 3 years? Yes. Then it did take you a long time to fuse. Feng Ling smiled. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 510. Chapter 510. Chapter 514. Song Ci pursed his lips and said, I will try my best to integrate myself quickly. The National Medical Alliance is more suitable for you, and you will quickly integrate in. Feng Ling smiled, then stood up and walked to Song Ci, extending her right hand. Welcome to join us. Song Ci looked at Feng Ling with confusion. He now didn't quite understand what Feng Ling meant. Does she mean? Don't you believe what the boss said? Shang Guanmo smiled, and Feng Ling admitted that Song Ci was an insider of theirs. In other words, he could be told that Feng Ling was their boss. Song Ci was so frightened that he stood up from his chair. You mean to say that this sister is the boss? OMG, is this possible? Their boss is actually a teenager? How is this possible? But the reality is that nothing is impossible. None of the people present were born, which means they all agreed with Shang Guanmo's statement. Song Ci walked out of the examination room feeling a little carried away. Someone asked him how he did in the exam, and he simply said it was okay. Then he went to the toilet. He needed to be alone to calm down now. It seems like he is not appreciated by the boss. Dr. Chu, you will definitely impress them when you enter. Yet Chu Tian didn't have anything to worry about at the moment, because he hadn't gone in yet. I don't know what's going on. Chu Tian is a little flustered now. However, what made him even more flustered was that he had not yet entered until everyone had entered. Hello, why didn't you call me? Did you accidentally miss me? What's your name? The man asked. Chu Tian was a little dissatisfied, but because he was a little anxious, he couldn't get angry. Chu Tian. The man glanced at the list and said, your name is not on it. Impossible, I signed up. This list has been verified by many people and cannot be wrong, so you can imagine where you went wrong. The man was about to leave after finishing speaking. But he was stopped by Chu Tian. I want to see Bozd. If it sees me, it will definitely not let me stay like this. Song Ci had just come back from the bathroom when he heard what Chu Tian said. He pursed his lips, walked up to Chu Tian and said, you'd better not go in. Who do you think you are? I'm doing it for your own good. The boss is Feng Ling, which means that what she said before about firing Chu Tian is true. Now that Chu Tian is no longer a member of their National Medical Alliance, it is naturally impossible for him to be on the list anymore, but Chu Tian has always been arrogant, and it is impossible to believe this, like now. You need to take care of it, you're a who doesn't know anything. Song Ci's eyes were stunned, but he still didn't say anything. He was already kind and righteous enough. Therefore, what Chu Tian wants to do next has nothing to do with him. Chu Tian entered. The first time he entered, he pointed at Feng Ling and said without raising his head, "Boss, I want to report this person to you. He is not a member of our Chinese Medical Alliance, but he used his kinship to come in. Just now, you were talking nonsense outside about wanting to fire me. I think the boss should clearly understand and eliminate all the bugs inside. Then let you come in, right?" Feng Ling's cold voice sounded. "Yes." Chu Tian replied subconsciously, and then he felt something was wrong. He looked up and found that there was no so-called boss at all. "Where is this, boss? Don't you want to drive me away? Why are you looking for me again now?" Feng Ling sneered. End of this chapter.